And joining us now in studio is Dr. Yossi Mansharof. He's an expert on Iran at the Jerusalem Institute for Strategy and Security. And Yossi, a lot of speculation, a lot of theories about exactly why Zarif resigned. What is your reading of the situation?
Yeah. Actually, in the recent decade, a major rift and the power struggle has erupted in the Iranian leadership. Zarif plays a major role in the pragmatic camp in Iran, which strive to promote pragmatic policy in Iran, in contrast to Khamenei, which leads the radical faction in the regime. So there was a bill which was approved in the parliament in last October, which prohibits Iran from doing dirty banking and to launder money. And the IRGC insists that this bill should not be ratified by the Guardian Council, which is dominated by the people, the fellows of Khamenei. As soon as Zarif and Rouhani understood that the Guardian Council rejects this bill, they understood that the Europeans are going to have major difficulty in establishing the VSP, the same mechanism which is used to bypass the secondary American sanctions. So Zarif understood that he can do nothing actually in order to assist the Europeans. So that's why he quit.
So Yossi, when the U.S. says in reaction to this resignation, it doesn't make any difference whatsoever. They say Zarif, Rouhani, it's all the same. They're all just really a front. They're all puppets for the supreme leader. Do you think that's accurate, or are they getting it wrong?
No. There is a major power struggle in Iran. There are two major factions. One is headed by Khamenei, which is the radical faction, and the second is headed by Rouhani and Zarif, and these are the pragmatist faction. And the IRGC, which plays a major role in the radical faction, insists that this FATF bill in the Majlis, in the parliament, should not be approved by the Guardian Council, and they succeeded in promoting this policies that Khamenei would not ratify this bill.
So, in other words, the efforts to save the Iran nuclear deal, at least with the Europeans, that would have failed. You're saying that's one of the that is part of the impact here. We're going to witness the crumbling of that deal, even with the Europeans.
Yeah, the major aim of the European was to make sure that Iran would not be able to use any more banking, dirty banking, in order to export its terror around the world. As we know, Iran used bank in order to finance Hezbollah in Lebanon, the Taliban in Afghanistan, even Al-Qaeda, and some Iraqi and Bahraini factions and militias. So the aim was to prevent the IRGC from exporting its terror, and that was the major attempts of Zarif and the EU.
So in that case, when we hear leaders aligned with the U.S., like Benjamin Netanyahu, sort of praising his departure, saying good riddance, is he off base there too? From what you describe, it might be better for Netanyahu to have so-called moderates like Zarif and Rouhani around.
They're not so moderate, they are pragmatics.
Relatively speaking.
Zarif, when he says last week to the Der Spiegel that Iran does not seek to annihilate Israel, it's very obvious to the readers that he's lying. Right. But he's trying to attribute a pragmatic policies for the regime so the Europeans can be convinced that maybe we have a partner in Iran, maybe we have a moderate partner.
But that's an illusion from what you're saying.
Yeah. Exactly. That's the major point. And it's very important to understand that dirty banking is a well-known phenomenon in Iran. Zarif said it by himself in November, and that's why the IRGC slammed his remarks. And Zarif also said that Iran recognized the Holocaust. It was a major disaster. And also Khamenei insisted that this is a major problem. So we can see the conflict between Khamenei and Zarif.